Ryman.
Thank you. It's great to be here. This book is basically a compendium of stories involving my father, myself, and then subsequently my son. And a lot of the stories are the type that firefighters will tell sitting on the back step of an engine at 3 in the morning after we come back from a call, or basically any other time that we might get together. With all he had experienced, what Mike had been working toward for 4 years still awaited him. His 18th birthday came and went, an important transition into adulthood, but not with the excitement he would have liked. Mike turned 18 with the hope of an immediate string of working fires since he was finally able to go inside for the first time. It didn't happen like that. In fact, it was overly quiet. As the weeks went by, his level of frustration and the associated bitching increased. I understood, remembering a similar wait after I turned 18. Shortly after midnight, on a moderate January morning, the pager went off for a chimney fire right around the corner from our house. Mike came down the hall toward our bedroom to see if I was up. Initially, I tried to dissuade him. I was whipped. We had been out the night before on a surround and drown warehouse fire, the first actual fire in months, but no real work other than for the aerial ladders and tankers hauling the water. The lack of sleep, however, had taken its toll, and I had an important meeting in the morning. But Mike was not dissuaded. So grumbling all the way about going to a routine chimney fire, I stomped downstairs, put my bumper pants on, and met my now impatient son in the car. We made the short drive around the corner and parked just past the handsome white farmhouse. Putting on the balance of our gear, we walked up to the back of the house to check on the conditions. An elderly lady in a wheelchair was at the bottom of a ramp leading from the rear door. We walked in the back door to find 3 men still in the house, the first floor charged with smoke, the other side of the kitchen just barely visible. So much for the routine chimney fire. "Everybody out now," I yelled into the grayish smoke. The 3 men exited and confirmed no one else was in the house. A quick check of the basement from the outside billfold doors verified there was no fire down there, only light smoke. The engine arrived, and Mike pulled an 1 3/4 hose line to the front door while I put on a pack. Mike put a pack on as well, and we pulled our face pieces over our heads and entered the living room. A quick check of the wall that the chimney was on showed it to be cool, surprising for the amount of smoke present. The same was found upstairs. There was too much smoke for this to be just a chimney fire, but that was where we had to start. Shortly after we started work on emptying the wood stove, the fire decided to show itself. Flames blew out of the small ventilation fan in the wall separating the living room and kitchen. Mike went for the hose line at the front door, and I hit the flames looking out of the vent for the small stream from the pressurized water extinguisher we had brought in. Returning with the nozzle, Mike waited for water. After about 30 seconds, the line came to life, fat and hard. And Mike opened the nozzle on straight stream right into the still flaming vent. I knew we had fire in this separating wall, so far from the chimney that it was spreading into concealed spaces. It didn't stay concealed long. "Kitchen's off," Jerry, the assistant chief, hollered from the doorway between the living room and kitchen. We moved the line into the kitchen, making the hard right turn. Fire rolled across the ceiling above the kitchen cupboards. I pulled more line into the room and yelled through my face piece, "Get it, Mike." He braced himself on the floor and racked the bail back, the straight stream again blasting from the black nozzle tip, pounding the fire, quickly pushing it back. A few seconds of water and the flames were gone. Mike shut the nozzle and we looked as best as possible through the smoke at where the fire had been. "Hit that hole up there," I told him. I was sure there was more fire on the wall and ceiling, and if we got some water in there while waiting for more manpower and tools, perhaps we could slow it down. The straight stream again thumped the junction of the wall and ceiling. After about 15 seconds of water, I had him shut down again. Now we could see the smoke pushing from behind a high cabinet in the corner. I crawled up to it and pulled the door open. Flames blew out of the cabinet and into the room and up the wall. Mike heaved on the line and got around to the now open cabinet door well. Jerry handed me a pike pole and I smashed the kitchen window next to the cabinet. Smoke was to the floor by this point, our visibility poor. Vent out the window, Mike, I yelled. He opened the nozzle on a narrow fog, something he had practiced innumerable times in training but had never done for real. He watched the smoke become entrained with the flowing water streaming out the opening together. From beneath his face piece came the first words I'd heard him utter since we'd entered the building. Ah, cool. There was no further fire evident in the kitchen, so we pulled the line back to the living room. Hook still in hand, a few pulls of the ceiling revealed fire running the channels of the heavy floor joists above. An 80 square foot area was well involved. A few more shots with the hose line and we were in good shape. My low air alarm began sounding. Mike still had plenty of air left, which I heard about in great detail in the days that followed. But I didn't know any of the additional people now working the room. He had come in with me, so he would leave with me. Let's go, I'm low on air, I said. He followed me out the front door and onto the snow-covered lawn. We both knelt down and removed our helmets and face piece, my son and I together. I looked over at him as he stared at the house, now only light smoke coming from the top of the front door. Did you enjoy it, I asked. He just nodded back at me, a satisfied look on his face. I always thought it would be great to be there for his first time inside, but never knew if it would actually happen. I had just lived a dream. Emotions welled up inside me, flowing through my system. I thought I was going to cry. He wasn't my little boy anymore.